Hi, my name is Mentally, and that's not a pen name. So this is basically an introduction video. I did the introducing me and the booktube newbie tag, and this is me sharing my top 3 books. I believe that your favorite books really define who you are. They give a glimpse into your personality. They show kind of your tastes, because mostly your favorite books are from the genres you read most often. So I thought that a good way to introduce me to this community and in general, especially because I hate introducing myself. Why am I doing another introducing me? I don't know. Anyway, here's my top 3 books. The first one I want to talk about is Dragon Song by Anne McCaffrey. This book, the main character's name is Mentally, so obviously we have a connection. Mentally is the daughter of a fisherman, but she dreams of being a harper or a musician, and her parents don't approve, and she really has to fight towards that dream of being a musician, and this book is the start of her going towards that goal. It's set in a kind of fantastic world. Obviously, I was named after the character in this book. I feel a connection to it. I spent a good deal of my middle school life trying to become the Mentally that is in Dragon Song and its sequel, Dragon Singer. So that is one of the main reasons why this is one of my favorite books, because I feel such connection to it, as the main character is in another dimension. I am the Mentally in this book. There's also some really great themes of discovering yourself, of being misunderstood by the people around you, which was pretty powerful stuff for little middle schooler Mentally. The descriptions in this book are also fantastic. It's beautifully written, it's beautiful to read, both in physical form like this or in audiobook form. And in general, it's just one of my favorite books of all time. The second book I want to talk about, this was my favorite book in high school. I think I read it in my sophomore year, and if you asked me through my high school years what my favorite book was, I would have said this one. And this is Just Listen by Sarah Dessen. Just Listen is about a girl named Annabelle, who at the end of the last school year, she was the girl who had everything. She was popular, she's a model, she has a really great best friend, and then everything came crashing down over the summer, and so suddenly she's starting a new year, and she doesn't have everything anymore, and she really has to work to understand who she is when everything that she thought she was is now gone. It's a beautiful book about finding who you are and overcoming hardships. It's got my favorite guy in any book I've ever read, Owen. He is a wonder. This book also deals with some very hard subjects in a very tender and emotional and empathetic way. It's not hard-hitting, but it is very impactful, and it very much made an impact on me in high school. So that is the second book. The third book I want to talk about is probably the most controversial, but it's also the one that if you ask me out of nowhere, I will probably say this book is my favorite book of all time. And that is Faith of the Fallen by Terry Goodkind. Faith of the Fallen is the 6th book in the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. This book, obviously it's 6 books in, so let me hedge around what it's about. This follows the story of Kaylin and Richard and their adventures. In this book, Kaylin and Richard are actually separated. It deals with Richard coming to terms with who he is as a leader, and Kaylin coming into terms with who she is as Richard is gone. Most of the reviews about this says that Terry Goodkind's writing in this book is very heavy-handed. He literally shoves his ideas down your throat, and that is very much true. Luckily, I didn't mind it. The characters in this book are at their peak, I would say. This is where they peak. This is where they're the best characters that they are in the entire series. I love this book. It has both my favorite quote and my life's motto in it. I've obviously read this several times, and I've listened to it on audiobook even more. I've probably read this book close to 20 full times. My local library, I used to check out the books on tape version, and there was a part 1 and a part 2, and they only ever had part 2, but I swear I checked it out every single time I went to the library for quite a while, to the point where I had the tapes memorized. I could tell you when a certain line was said in a tape. I was into it. This is adult fantasy, and it's very much an adult novel. I probably read it when I was too young, but I don't regret it. It's influenced my life in many ways. The action here is incredible. The emotional resonance in here is absolutely amazing, and I love basically everything about this book. Even after reading it 20 odd times, I still cry every single time I read this book. So, those are the 3 books that I wanted to talk about today. These are my top 3 books. Obviously, there's other books that have influenced me. There's other books that I would say are favorites of mine. But these are the 3 that come to mind when I think, what are my top 3 books? So, I hope this taught you something about me as a reader and as a person. I am currently reading Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman and Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. My focus right now is on Thunderhead, but those are what I'm currently reading. Please tell me what your favorite book is, and I hope to talk to you soon.